Well, hello, family. Earlier this week, I was reading the book of Nehemiah. Many of you would know that history, but for those of you who don't, uh, Judea had been taken captive by the Babylons because of their sinning against God, and they've been in captivity there. But we've reached a place now where some of those in captivity have begun to return to Jerusalem. Now, there is a man still in Babylon. His name is Nehemiah, and he's the cupbearer to the king. He tastes the wine in the event that somebody would be trying to poison the king. And so he checks on the conditions in Jerusalem and finds out that the city's almost in shambles because of what has happened, and the wall is broken down around the city. And the wall is extremely important for the protection. And he literally becomes heartbroken for the people there and for his city. And without going into all the details, it ends up that the governor the king allows Nehemiah to go to Jerusalem to assess the situation and to help out. And so you see that unfold. And when you get to chapter 3, it's a chapter that you could it's almost like a genealogy to some degree, that it would be real easy just to kind of scan quickly through it and get on to looking for something else. But as I read this the other day, there's something I began to notice. There's a whole lot of names there that honestly don't mean a lot to me. But here was the basic story. Is their goal was to rebuild the wall that had been tore mostly down and part way down all the way around Jerusalem. And so these people's names are listed with what they are doing. But then there is this word over and over again. It is the word next. Next to him. This person built or repaired the wall. And then it goes on and says, next to them, so-and-so built and repaired the wall. You know, instead of thinking about all these names, we could just, think through our church, different names, a job that needed to be done. And so-and-so's working over here, and next to them, so-and-so's working, and next to them, this person, this family's building, and they're making repairs, and on we go. Here's what I got to thinking about, though. What if there was no next? What if this person was working here, rebuilding? Next to them, this person, this family was rebuilding. But then there's no next. There's not another person or another family next to them rebuilding. That part's not fixed. And then over here, there's somebody else doing their part. But then there's not anybody mentioned next to them. And nobody mentioned next to them. And then maybe there is somebody mentioned. And then maybe there's another great space of nobody mentioned. The key words, it lists somebody's name or their family, and that they were building or repairing and next to them. This makes me think about the days that we're in. This time of returning to the Lord. This time of repairing the foundations. I think I have shared this burden. I believe we are living in days that we can't afford for there to be the gaps. The foundations of God must be rebuilt. And for that to happen, we can't say, well, a few people are going to do it. The Jonathan Kahns and the James Dobsons and this pastor and that Christian and this person. We can't have it where the foundations are trying to be rebuilt. And so we've got this group of people who are praying and fasting and seeking God and praying for healing for the nation. And next to them, we've got this group of people doing that. But then all of a sudden, there's a gap. There's nobody to fill that in. Church, you know where I've been. Ever since I heard about the return, I've been excited, and yet I've been burdened. I've been burdened because so many believers I've talked to don't seem to be burdened. I mean, we cannot even begin to imagine the things that are actually taking place in our world today would have ever taken place. And we shake our heads in disbelief. And we talk about how horrible it is. And we talk about what may happen. And see, that was where Nehemiah was. He saw how bad it was, but he also knew that it could become even worse if the wall wasn't rebuilt. And he gave up his place really of privilege in the king's palace back in Babylon to come and get his hands dirty and to lead the people to rebuild the wall for the protection of Jerusalem. And God is calling people to come to rebuild the wall, rebuild the foundations of this nation. The Bible says in Psalm chapter 11, if the foundations are being destroyed, what will the righteous do? Well, the foundations are being destroyed. The question is, what will the righteous do? I'm just putting this plea out to you. If this chapter 3 of Nehemiah, was being written in the year 2020, when it talked about how the foundations of America was being destroyed, and let's say it's 100 years down the road, and this chapter was being written, and somebody went back and read that and said, well, this group of people, they got together and they began to seek God, and they fasted and they prayed and they repented. And next to them, this group of people did that. And next to them, this group of people did it. They rebuilt the foundations. Would your name be in the list? See, it mentions these names, and I don't know all the names, but there was enough that the job was completed. We need all hands on deck. We're living in desperate times. Times that we desperately need God to heal America. But we've got our part to play. If my people. So the Spirit of God is saying, I need you to come to the wall. Now, they built with bricks and mortar and even holding a weapon in their hands because of the enemy coming against them. And I want to promise you, the enemy will come against you as you try to do the work of God. But will your name, will your family be among those who are standing in the gap for this nation? I only get to pastor you, which I'm grateful for that. But I've been trying to get out word best I can. Nehemiah chapter 3, not the most exciting chapter, but when you begin to see this person built or repaired that, and right next to them was this person, and right next to them was this person, right next to them was this family, my precious family. We need you. We need everybody to join hands, join hearts, join knees. Join our wills together to seek to rebuild the foundations of this nation while there's still time. I want to ask you to do one more thing. You've probably been there. Maybe you've been there several times. Go to thereturn.org. One more time, listen to Jonathan Cahn's appeal, 7-8 minutes long, about the times in which we're living. And then I want to ask you, bombard. Use your text, use your social media, use your email, use every source you can to bombard over these next days, these 10 days of awe, as it's called, returning to the Lord, to do everything you can. Send out the return.org, and with it, ask people to go listen to Jonathan Cahn's message. Hey, by the grace of God, I'm going to be there building the wall. And I'm so thankful for those who are building the wall. And I invite all of you to come and be part of it. Thank you. I love you, family. God bless you.